Well, they're back at it again. I didn't plan on this, but I did also talk about turning this into a series, especially because these butthurt Death Battle fans just keep giving me material to work with. So I thought this might be a nice throwaway video to put out there while we wait for the new Death Battle and while I work on other Death Battle videos like the Ash vs. Yugi one. So a little bit of context. One of my followers, I won't name any names, is DMing me and sent me some things that people were saying about me on Reddit because for whatever reason, this guy feels the need to send every comment that is ever said about me on Reddit. And a real quick thing about that before we begin. It's funny to me that one of the things I always have to hear from my naysayers is that nobody cares what I think. I'm a small channel. Nobody cares about you. Yet, you go on certain places of the internet, and I'm all that certain people will talk about. Like, you go into the Death Battle subreddit, and you just got people posting my videos and talking all kinds of shit or whatever. And it's like, it's funny. I thought nobody cared about me, yet I seem to live rent-free in certain people's heads. I just find that a little bit funny, and that's the reason why I like to make these videos. And before I begin, I need to explain. This is not an attack or insult against anybody. This is just me kind of poking fun at the silly things that Death Battle fans say. And if there are any names in the comments that I post, do not go track these people down and harass them. If you are going to confront them, be civil about it. I'm just here to make these videos out of entertainment, okay? So, what we're going to talk about here is I have 3 comments here. 2 are from this Death Battle subreddit, and then the 3rd is from my own comment section regarding my response to the Ichigo Yusuke thing. So, I'm going to start out with the 2 comments that were left, and then we'll go from there. And I have the comments right here, but a little bit of context. Apparently, I have become known by certain people in the Death Battle community as the Not My Blade guy. Now, I will admit, when I did the whole hashtag Not My Blade thing, this isn't exactly what I had in mind, but hey, it's kind of funny, so I'll take it. If people want to call me the Not My Blade guy, fine, because, you know, at least it's kind of silly. So, they're over here saying, and I've talked about this in previous videos, but for some reason my Buffy versus Blade rant video really triggered some people, and the claim that they seem to take the most issue with is the whole, I think that if Death Battle was going to do this whole live-action Blade thing, they should have tried to get Wesley Snipes, because that would have been really cool, and Death Battle would have been legendary if they actually did that. And even though, yeah, technically, there was one other guy that played Blade, whenever people think of Blade, they think of Wesley Snipes, so it would have made sense to at least maybe try to see if you could get him, because it would have been really cool, but they didn't do that. Instead, they just got some guy, presumably another YouTuber. And you've heard some of the things people say, like, oh, Death Battle is too broke to get Blade, Death Battle is indie, this and that. So, the first comment I want to take a look at is this one right here because it's just hilarious. Wait, this chuckle fuck honestly expects Wesley, the tax dodger Snipes, to reprise his famous role for an internet-exclusive series by 2 random guys? Especially for what is only 8 or 9 minute segment. And this is a comment that I see quite often is, oh, why would Wesley Snipes waste his time for a little internet show that's only like 8 to 9 minutes? Like, what the hell kind of argument is this? And here's one thing I find really funny about this comment, and this is why I put it here, and this is why this is the one we're starting out with. Oh, Death Battle is just 2 random guys. Okay, so I guess apparently Death Battle is just two random guys. I guess we're gonna call it the Two Random Guys show now. Is that what this is? Is Death Battle making a parody remake of 2.5 Men called Just Two Guys? Is that what this is, Death Battle fans? And it's funny to me, these so-called Death Battle fans, they claim that they love Death Battle, but then they always demean Death Battle and find ways to belittle them. Like, Death Battle, they're just a small indie show, and they're just a couple of guys. Like, why are you taking it so seriously? And then it's like, okay, first off, Death Battle is more than just two guys, because Death Battle is a freaking full-blown company, and it's run by, like, a bunch of different people. Like, it's not just Chad James and Ben Singer. You got Liam Swan, you got the animators, you got Brandon Yates, you got Their Wolf Media. Like, a lot of people work on the Death Battle crew. No, but apparently Death Battle, well, they're just two guys, you know? That's all they are. There's a couple of random guys. You know, I can't wait to tune in February to watch the Two Random Guys show, because that's apparently all it is. To me, what is the deal with constantly pointing out that Death Battle is just an internet show or just indie? What does that have to do with anything? The internet is huge these days. There are entire TV shows that started out as internet series, or even entire series that started out as webcomics. Hell, One Punch Man started out as a fucking webcomic written by a dude that can't draw for shit, and it's one of the most popular anime and manga series of all time. Like, what does it being indie have to do with anything? Blair Witch Project was a movie made for 60 grand. Made by 6 people going into the woods and filming shit. And it was a movie that made millions of dollars and is one of the most iconic, well-known horror movies of all time. Hell, frickin' Paranormal Activity. That movie started out as a movie that was made for like $15,000, and it became one of the biggest horror franchises of all time for a time, and it started out as an indie movie. What the fuck does Death Battle being indie have to do with anything? And first off, Death Battle is one of the biggest YouTube channels on the entire platform. They get millions and millions of views. They have millions of subscribers. Their Deadpool episode has like 50 million views. A freaking random ass episode about Rainbow Dash and Starscream that they made has like 10 million views. Death Battle gets more views than big television. Hell, Death Battle gets more views than fucking WWE and AEW. Hell, Death Battle gets more views than all the big wrestling promotions combined. Death Battle gets higher views than some TV shows. Hell, I'll put this in perspective for you. Death Battle gets more views than the fucking WNBA. The WNBA, on average, has like around 300,000 viewers. When Caitlin Clark is playing, they get 1.4 million viewers. Death Battle can piss away 1 million viewers like that. Even dog shit episodes of Death Battle, like McGruff versus Smokey the Bear, can get like 2 million views. What the hell is up with this? Oh, Death Battle is just a small indie show. I guess so much for giving Death Battle any credibility. I mean, it's not as if they're one of the biggest YouTube channels on the entire platform and they have pop culture status. But no. Death Battle, they're just a couple of guys. And, you know, I guess for the foreseeable future, I'm just going to refer to Wiz and Boomstick as just two random guys, because that's all they are. And again, these are the people that claim that I hate Death Battle and I'm toxic, but these people take every opportunity they can to belittle Death Battle. I could harp on this a whole lot more, but I want to move on to the next comment, so let's do that. Okay, now this one's a long one, so just bear with me. That's a stupid-ass argument, because for the record, Wesley Snipes' salary for what was essentially barely more than a cameo in Deadpool 3 was $3 million. which was, by the way, the second lowest salary of his career after The Expendables, where he was paid $2 million. I really don't think Death Battle can afford him, and I don't think Wesley would be down for doing it either for free or even just for cheap, especially if it's the plot of a self-produced indie show where his iconic character kills an arguably innocent girl and dies from decapitation. Also, the entire Battle Kickstarter was barely $1 million. Granted, it was smashed in a week, and they actually got more money than that, but still. Now, okay, there's a lot to address here. But the first thing I want to address is this. Now, this individual claims that the lowest salary that Wesley Snipes ever took was $3 million to $2 million. Well, that is a either lie or this person didn't do any research, because I was able to debunk this in 5 seconds. The lowest salary that Wesley Snipes ever took was $75,000. In fact, I literally have an image right here that talks about all the salaries that Wesley Snipes has ever taken throughout his entire career, and I will put it right here. So what the heck is this person talking about when they're saying, oh, I don't think Death Battle can afford him, I don't think Wesley Snipes would be down for it? Like, why would Wesley Snipes want to be in an indie show? Again with this indie show crap, I don't get it. Why does it always come back to, oh, it's just an indie show, it's just a broke little indie show? And, you know, why would he want to play when his character gets decapitated? Like, what? First off, like, I don't really think Wesley Snipes cares. And why would Wesley Snipes care if it's a part of the story that Wesley Snipes has to kill a girl that was infected by a vampire so that way he can spare her from becoming a vampire? Because, you know, the whole thing with Blade is that he's a vampire who's fighting the vampire war and wants to protect humans from vampires, and he would understand the curse of being a vampire and immortality. And you know what? That's a whole mess that I'm not even going to get into. But what I am going to talk about is how I'm tired of this fucking idea that Death Battle would not be able to afford Wesley Snipes. How do you know how much Wesley Snipes would ask for? Are any of you in touch with Wesley Snipes? If so, please give me his phone number. I'd love to have a little chat with him, because I didn't know any of you had access to Wesley Snipes' phone number. And really, how do you know he wouldn't be willing to do it for funsies or for a low paycheck? You don't know these celebrities. Like, not every celebrity demands thousands of dollars. I can remember this one time, Keanu Reeves was working on a movie, and there was a very particular actor they wanted to get for the lead role, and Keanu Reeves said, you know what, here, I will give up my salary, go get the actor that you want to get, because I already have so much money, it basically doesn't matter to me anyway. So celebrities do stuff like this all the time, and even then, it's not a matter of like, oh, he's too expensive. It would just be a matter of getting in touch with Wesley Snipes' agent and making him an offer. That's all. Worst case scenario is he says no. But given that Wesley Snipes is essentially like a washed up actor, and he doesn't really got much going on these days, I don't really think he's gonna say no to that. Like, what? Do you really think that Wesley Snipes, if somebody called him up and said, hey, we need you to play Blade for 6 or 7 minutes, could you do that? He'd probably be like, yeah, sure. I don't think the paycheck would really matter that much to him, because I imagine Death Battle would pay him as handsomely as they could under the circumstances, and Wesley Snipes would understand that. But again, just because, and I've talked about this before with other videos, just because Death Battle is an indie show or an internet show, that doesn't mean they're broke. Death Battle has so many forms of income. You have the Kickstarter, you have the Death Battle membership, you have Death Battle's ad revenue, you have Death Battle sponsorships. Sometimes they even have 3 sponsorships in one episode. You have Death Battle's merchandise store and whatever super chats they get from their live streams. Like, Death Battle is not broke. Death Battle has so many different sources of income. And you really think this is the problem with Death Battle fans? I can't figure out if they legitimately believe that Death Battle is still just a couple of guys making videos like it was back during Season 1 and Season 2, and they don't seem to understand that Death Battle is its own company and its own brand, and it's a brand that is very huge and gets millions and millions of views. Like, Death Battle probably makes way more money than you think. Now, I don't know if Death Battle has, like, exact numbers per se, but either way, again, it all comes back to, why do you all think that Death Battle is just this broke little indie show? That's what I don't freaking understand. Why this one statement so many people took issue with, of all the things I said in that video, just completely puzzles me. Like, think about it this way. Let's suppose Death Battle did get Wesley Snipes. You all would be losing your mind and talking about how awesome it is. But instead, you're over here constantly telling Death Battle what they can and can't do. You're naysayers. That's what you are. You're telling Death Battle, no, you can't do this. You have to do this. You can't do this. You can't do that. Like, fuck off with that shit. You know what Arnold Schwarzenegger said about naysayers? He said that you don't listen to naysayers because they're a bunch of losers. Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about how his entire life he always heard people tell him, you can't do this, you can't do that, it can never be done. And all Arnold Schwarzenegger would hear is, it can be done. And that's all you are. You're not fans. Stop acting like you're fans of Death Battle. You're not. I can remember I had a similar situation back in the day where I was talking about, why can't Death Battle get hand-drawn animation? And people would tell me, oh, well, it's too expensive. Or sprite animation is all Death Battle can afford, and they can only do 3D animation every once in a while because it's too expensive. Well, years later, Death Battle hires Moro, and now we got hand-drawn animation. So once again, I am vindicated. It turns out Death Battle could afford that stuff and hire a hand-drawn animator at any time they wanted, and they did. And Moro is already one of the top animators on Death Battle, so what the hell do you all have to say now? Everybody always says something can't be done until somebody actually does it. And that's really what this comes down to, and I'm just so tired of this. And even then, I explained in my video, if they couldn't get Wesley Snipes, why make it an action fight? Because think about it this way. The Blade movie, it's not coming out, it got canceled, but suppose that Disney Blade movie did come out. People would have inevitably made comparisons between Wesley Snipes and the new guy, Mahershala Ali, that they got to play Blade. Because for a lot of people, when they think of Blade, they think of Wesley Snipes. That's just how it is. Like, sometimes you have those characters that are played by a certain actor, and whenever people think about that character, they think about that actor. It's just how it is. This happens all the time. This isn't that uncommon. And my argument was, did this really need to be a live-action episode? Like, of all the episodes that they could have made into live-action episodes, why this one? They didn't have to do it, but they chose to. And that's really what it comes down to me. Why did they hire two actors that don't look or sound like the characters they're supposed to be playing in any way, shape, or form? What was even the point? And that's the thing. Y'all like to lowball Death Battle, and it's quite sad. Like, stop acting like you're making some kind of valid point. You're not. You're just naysayers. You're not Death Battle fans. Shut the fuck up, okay? It's really that simple. So, let's move on to the next comment. Now, this is a comment I have to deal with constantly. Question: if you hate Death Battle so much, why do you just, I don't know, stop talking about it? If you dislike the show, just talk about something you do like. How many times do I have to debunk this claim? Just because I criticize Death Battle or I point out things I don't like about Death Battle, that doesn't mean that I hate Death Battle. I literally made a whole video talking about this claim that I hate Death Battle, and yet it still comes up. Ask yourself something, genius. If I hated Death Battle, why would I dedicate years of my life to talking about Death Battle? What would be the point in that? The reason why I talk about Death Battle is because I love talking about it. Death Battle is a show that I've been watching since high school, and I aspire to make my own show like Death Battle. Just because I don't always see eye to eye with Death Battle, that doesn't mean that I hate them. Death Battle has made a lot of fun memories for me. If not for Death Battle, my channel would have never taken off, and the reason why I talk about Death Battle is because I enjoy it. If I didn't enjoy talking about Death Battle, I wouldn't have dedicated years of my life to talking about it, because anybody who knows me knows that when it comes to things I don't like talking about, I don't talk about it. How many times does this have to be addressed? Just because somebody has an opinion about something you don't like, that doesn't mean they hate it. I hate this idea that, oh, you criticize something, so therefore you hate it. Like, stop it. If I have to keep debunking this claim, I'm gonna go insane because it's so annoying. Like, clearly, you either don't watch my videos, don't pay attention, or you're one of those people that's like, oh, he doesn't speak 100% positively about something, so therefore he hates it. Like, does the phrase toxic positivity mean anything to you people? In the same way you can be too negative and hateful about something, you can also be too positive about something to the point where it comes off as shilling. A wise man once said, "He who defends everything defends nothing." I'm just a Death Battle fan that's just trying to have a nuanced perspective on Death Battle. And ultimately, I talk about Death Battle because I love it. And that's really what it comes down to. And it's because I love Death Battle that I sometimes have to sit down with them and say, like, hey, this wasn't that good, here's what I think you can do to be better. That's why I don't understand why people constantly confuse my criticism for me just trying to tear down Death Battle when that couldn't be further from the truth. And what I always find annoying is these same people that always ask, well, if you hate Death Battle, then why do you talk about it? Whenever I do make a video where I am very positive about Death Battle, mysteriously, these people are nowhere to be seen. No, they only show up on my videos where I'm negative about Death Battle. What gives with that? But ultimately, here's what it comes down to. Practice what you preach. If you don't like my video, why watch my video at all? What's even the point? There's a little bit of common sense for you. And again, I am just so sick and tired of hearing this accusation that I hate Death Battle. Again, I like Death Battle. I talk about Death Battle because I like it. I've talked about on this channel before that I am grateful for Death Battle. I am blessed that I get to have a YouTube channel that I've always wanted to have since I was a little kid, centered around talking about something that I enjoy. And in the same way, Death Battle makes their videos for entertainment, I make my videos for entertainment. But for some unknown reason, there's a subset of people out there that take my videos way too seriously, and I don't get it. For the last time in a row, Death Battle fans, I don't hate Death Battle. Hell, I know exactly how these people think because I once used to be one of them. There was a time where I was such a Death Battle fanboy, I never said anything negative about them. I watched every new episode of Death Battle that ever dropped on the channel, no matter what, and I would always love every Death Battle, even if it was a Death Battle that rubbed me the wrong way, like Peach versus Zelda. Like, I remember back in the day, I did not like the Peach versus Zelda episode, but I just accepted it. I basically gaslit myself into liking Death Battle, and it wasn't really all that healthy for me. It got to the point where people would just get annoyed hearing about me talk about Death Battle all day, every day, and it got to the point where my older brother told me, I swear, you would suck Death Battle's dick if you had the opportunity. And I said, yeah, probably.
How much of a blind fanboy I was.
I'm just over here trying to be more nuanced. It was because of certain bad episodes of Death Battle that just kind of made me realize, you know what? Not everything about Death Battle works, and maybe I should make a channel dedicated to reviewing Death Battle and saying what does and doesn't work about it. Originally, the idea was, hey, why don't I be the AVGN of the Versus community? And over time, I've just kind of evolved to just making the videos the way that I do. And again, I will say this, Death Battle fans, if you don't like my opinions on Death Battle, just practice what you preach and go elsewhere. It's really that simple. And I'll stop it there for now because this video is getting a little bit long. I do have other comments I would like to respond to, but I'll save them for another time. And I guess if you guys ever have screenshots of Death Battle fans saying silly things, feel free to send them to me, and I'll put them in this series. Let me know what you think about these comments, and I'll see you guys around next time.
Sometimes I feel